Good morning. I'm Stephanie. Probably haven't seen me in a while. I am recording a video as I am on the road today. And I often come up with ideas or thoughts or do my deep thinking while I'm driving. Am I the only one? I don't think so. Anyway, so today I wanted to sort of just continue my trauma story. I left off with my parents had divorced, and my mom was struggling a bit with 4 kids, and my dad had sort of like taken vacation from being a dad. Which, as I discussed earlier, was actually quite traumatic for me. I think I was always struggling to get my dad's attention, according to my mom. So I think it was particularly difficult for me when he kind of disappeared from the picture. And then, we continued to live with my mom for a few years, and actually it might not have been a few years. It's hard to piece together time when you're that young. I'd have to ask my mom. But anyway, we lived with my mom for a while, and she tried so hard, and it was so difficult. She had depression, and like major depression, like clinical major depression, and she had 4 children under like 6 or 7, I can't remember, but we were very young, and we were a lot of work, and she was working, and we would spend time with our family, but we also spent a lot of time with babysitters, which was really difficult for us because not all of them were great babysitters. We had our favorites and people that we're still friends with now that we greatly appreciate and that we have loving memories of from our childhood. Thank you, Lisa. And of course, my family, my grandmother was very involved with us when we were little, trying to intervene and very concerned about what was happening with us. So eventually my mother had a major breakdown, and when she did, she sort of just, I don't know how else to put it, she just kind of stopped coming home. We were just with babysitters a lot. And so my grandmother contacted my father and said, you really need to come get these kids. They're not doing well with Diana, my mother, and they need to, be taken care of. You are their father, and you are, at this point he had remarried, and you need to take responsibility for your children, essentially, is what my grandmother said to him, so that her daughter, my mother, could get some help and maybe get her life on a stable path. So we, I believe I was in 1st grade, moved in with my father and his new bride, who really was not prepared for taking care of 4, and I will say additional children, because she had a newborn. And we moved in with my dad and my stepmother, and it was a difficult transition for everybody, for the parents, for the kids, and I consider that my second trauma, because that separation from my mother created a sense of instability in me that has never really gone away in my entire adult life. When you have that kind of disruption in your relationship with your parents at that young of an age, when you think about it, your parents are supposed to be the people that are there to take care of you no matter what, right? And as kids, that's what we learn about our parents, that we can count on them and rely on them for safety and for shelter and for food and for the basic needs that humans need. And when someone disappears, or when you are separated from that person in your life, or when you have some kind of interruption and you don't understand the context, you're left to put it in your own context because you're a child. So as children, we tend to think that it's about us. And so as a young child, this is what I internalized, right? That it was about me, that something was wrong with me that had caused my father to quote unquote abandon me, and my mother to quote unquote abandon me. Now, in reality, neither one of them did. They were still there, they were still parenting, they were still making money, they were still supporting me. But to me as a child, any sense of security or stability that I had was forever disrupted. It was, I never, and we'll talk about that in the next video, I never regained a full sense of security in this home that I had moved into with my dad. And because of that, I think I started down a path of anxiety and insecurity that probably made the presence of further mental illness in my life more likely, right? Maybe it's not a cause and effect, but there is a causal relationship. In other words, it probably had some impact on everything that occurred to me for the rest of my life. And can I just say, this is the same journey my siblings were on. So there were 4 of us embarked on this journey of instability and sort of inconsistent relationships with our parents. So that's what I considered trauma number 2. And I was in 1st grade and probably about 6, maybe 7 years old. No, I was 6. Yeah, I was 6. Because I started school when I was 4. So I was 6. See you later.